You've always felt like a part of you has gone missing.
Well, hello, darlings. Look who I found in the city of Bordeaux. Welcome.
Thank you.
Ryan, so good to see you.
Always nice to see you in Bordeaux.
I know, we've had too much fun.
It's like our home away from home.
It is our home away from home, and we're going to have to figure out how to get back here regardless of what our situation is. I think we'll just have to come back next year.
We do.
Okay.
I think we can't miss another trip. I think it's got to be an annual endeavor.
Absolutely. So we're at the Intercontinental Hotel right now in Bordeaux. We're actually at Gordon Ramsay's new place called...
It's called Le Bordeaux.
Le Bordeaux, darlings. Okay, so we're having some wine right now. We're going to tell you guys a little bit about Primeur and our experience in Primeur, of which we went to...
We visited, tasted Saint-Emilion. We visited Saint Julien. We
Margaux.
And that was...
That other one. Pauillac. Okay, so we had Pauillac too, but before we get started, you know, everybody thinks Bordeaux is so expensive and is so unaffordable, and really from Mama's Shelter, where we stayed, which was excruciatingly affordable and just really cool vibe.
Very hip.
Very hip, yeah. Great food downstairs.
Great atmosphere.
Fun bar.
And a great location.
Yes, and they had as many spritzes as you could possibly consume, although I didn't consume that many. But here at Gordon Ramsay's, what are we sipping on today?
We're sipping on the 2012 Brun du Cru from Saint Julien, which is a personal favorite of mine. I actually shared a bottle in 2001 with a friend recently, and it is lovely, and it's only 10 euros a bottle, sitting next to the beautiful Grand Hotel at the Intercontinental. So we are savoring this moment in Bordeaux together for sure. The wine is lovely.
And Ryan was super excited to see this wine at 10 euros a glass on the menu because how much is it in the US?
It's about $85, $90 a bottle.
$85 or $90 a bottle. So you can have great wine here at affordable prices and pay less than you actually pay in the US. So very cool. Come to Bordeaux and visit and see what it's all about. Okay, on to Primeur. So, which region should we talk about first?
I think we should talk about Saint-Emilion because it was the first one that we visited and actually got, a preview of the 2018 vintage.
We were here last year.
Yeah, we should talk about how the vintage compares to 2017.
Absolutely, and we want to give a quick shout out to Millesima because Millesima is the group that's responsible for bringing us here, and certainly we're both ambassadors for Chateau Claire Milon. Shout out to the Rothschild family. They are definitely big supporters of what we do, and we absolutely love them, don't we?
We love them.
We love them. They've given us
fantastic team.
Yes, so many amazing experiences and just the coolest people, and what they want to do is make Bordeaux more accessible to everybody, and that includes you and us.
If you haven't tried Chateau Claire Milon's wines, they're in the heart of Pauillac, right next to Chateau Mouton Rothschild. And whereas Chateau Mouton Rothschild can trade for $500 to $1,000 a bottle, you can buy a great bottle of Chateau Claire Milon for $70 a bottle. And they've undergone incredible improvements and renovations in their cellar over the last 10 years, and the quality of the wines has just made so much progress.
And so Claire Milon is not going to always stay inexpensive because it is very close to its sister properties in style. Not exact because of course their vineyards are different, but they accumulated these vineyards, and it was actually, wasn't it
Baron Philippe, yep.
de Rothschild, who actually is responsible for starting up yet another vineyard, another winery, but the styles are similar in nature that they've got such incredible structure and balance and great tannins, so the ageability is phenomenal, and we actually got our first taste of some of the aging on the Claire Milon, right? Yeah.
We had the opportunity to actually taste the 2009 over dinner this week on Tuesday night at their chateau, which is gorgeous and is really a modern masterpiece. Quite the juxtaposition against the landscape of Pauillac.
I'm stealing that.
You should.
The modern masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
It is a
Did you say
masterpiece. It's a masterpiece.
Okay, it's a masterpiece. 2017 was a brutal year for Bordeaux. They underwent early frost, lots of hail.
It was a very inconsistent vintage. Unfortunately, yields were down considerably because of that frost.
Like 60% in a lot of cases.
So there are producers who make quality wines, but even the producers that make quality wines, they're not up to par with some of the better vintages and more classic vintages in Bordeaux. Whereas in 2018, we were really impressed with the consistent quality. The bar was just significantly higher than it was in 2017.
And so Saint Emilion, I think we tried the most wines, tasted the most wines from Saint Emilion.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't taste really a bad representation.
I don't think there was a bad one.
No. And so it's like you can be sure and comfortable with the fact that you can invest when they're available. They're not available yet, but Saint Emilion had such a great showing. What was one of your favorites?
One of my favorites was Chateau Fontplegaud.
I love that one.
Which is a very small producer that, remember I said you have to try this one?
Yes.
The wine is really fantastic. Unfortunately for consumers, even though they're small and relatively new on the wine scene, or maybe they're only more recently gaining some popularity, I'm happy for them, but their prices have started to creep up a little bit, so you have to get on board before the wine price becomes too expensive. So it's time to stock up. The wines are very affordable still, especially for the quality, and they're very age-worthy. So it was probably my favorite wine from Saint Emilion. Other fantastic producers were Gaffriere, Pavé Marquand. Also, I really enjoyed Fleur Cardinal and Clos de Jacobon and Couvent de Jacobon.
Clos de Jacobon.
They are separate estates and they have very similar names, and they are both in Saint Emilion, so it's a bit confusing.
Okay, we have to back up now. We're going to continue to back up. We've got so much history with Bordeaux, and especially the 2017 vintage, but let's talk about Couvent de Jacobon. There are two Jacobons. Couvent de Jacobon has an incredible history. The property that they have dates back to the monks, like literally like 13th century.
I think the 13th century.
Yeah.
It is a Jacobean monastery, and the monks used to make wine at this monastery. And thankfully today they are still making wine. It may no longer be a functioning monastery, but they are producing some incredible wine, and those wines are surprisingly affordable.
Absolutely. So if you guys are just joining us, we are broadcasting live from Gordon Ramsay's Les Bordeaux in the Intercontinental Grand whatever.
Right adjacent to the Grand Hotel, or it's in the Grand Hotel.
We'll turn the camera in just a few minutes. But we were talking about Couvent de Jacobon, and the reason we were talking about it was because last year when we were there, we had one of the most incredible verticals that I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Myself included. It was unbelievable.
From 1949 to
53. I'm sorry, the 53 of 49.
We did open the 49 as well. The 49, the 53, a bunch in this, one or two in the 60s.
It was an astounding vertical tasting.
It was an astounding vertical tasting.
And a testament to how age-worthy their wines are.
And these guys make sure that they replace corks every 10 years because they do not want their wine compromised on any level. And it's not. I mean, we get a test. The 1949 was phenomenal. The 1953 was probably the best that we've had in a long time.
The 53 was my favorite, and it was really a pleasure to be able to taste a wine with that much age that was still so fresh and was still so alive and so complex. Really, I mean, how many times do you get to taste a 53 Bordeaux?
You don't.
For me, not that often.
I know, me either.
I know most of my followers think that's what I drink on Tuesday nights, but that's not the case.
Let's share this with the people of Bordeaux. So if you happen to have a chateau or winery in Bordeaux, we're available for any 1940 or 1950, even 1960.
We'll settle for a 60s.
Anytime, yeah. Just fly us out here. We'll come by and we'll help you decrease your library assets quite rapidly. Cheers.
Cheers to that.
Okay, so many people have been joining us. I want to shout out to everybody who's popping by. We're talking about the Primeur 2018. We're also doing some comparative notes with the 2017, and we want to assure you that the 2018 vintage is going to be one of those vintages to remember. So we were talking a little bit about Emilion. I had a favorite that you actually liked as well, and it was Chateau du Pars? Chateau du Pars. So that's another one we're probably going to put out in the, maybe not in the stream, but we're going to tag these people as we get a little bit further into revealing some of the real gems that we tasted at Primeur 2018. Okay, so that's kind of a wrap for Emilion. Anything else you want to say about that region?
No, I just think, and I also want to say about the vintage overall, I think we could describe the 2018 vintage as powerful yet playful. Some really classic stellar vintages in Bordeaux are not enjoyable in their youth. They really can be austere, and they really need 10 to 15 years to kind of reveal a more enjoyable, personality. But the wines,
worth the wait.
It is always worth the wait. So while your 2010s lay in your cellar, you can buy 2018 and rest assured that in a few years they're going to be enjoyable. So vintages like that, they're so concentrated, but the tannin is so sweet and the fruit is really generous.
And they're really focusing on fresh. Bordeaux is focusing on the freshness of the fruit, and that's something that's kind of come along in recent years.
Yeah, kind of like Italy, right?
Absolutely. Letting the fruit speak a little bit more, not as heavy of a hand with the oak, and I really think that is more appealing to today's palate.
It is.
Okay, so let's talk for a moment about Margaux, and we do want to do a quick shout out to Chateau Saron, which has been a host for me for a couple of years and just really a magical place to visit. Chateau Saron this year actually had a phenomenal year for their Margaux, and it was we had maybe 3 or 4 standouts at the Margaux tasting. Chateau Saron is definitely one of them, so keep your eyes on their 2018. That's why Ryan's here, because I can't say anything properly.
Well, I may not be saying it properly either, but as long as we make a concerted effort. Dozak.
We'll work on our pronunciations and our spelling.
Kirwan was also really lovely.
They were lovely in 2017 too, so they must have had a blessed year.
Yes.
2017.
Also Chateau du Celt.
Yes.
And Chateau Giscourt.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Oh my goodness, so amazing, so amazing.
Did you have any other favorites in Margaux?
There were probably 5 that were standout for me, and that's the thing is it's a little bit of a dice roll when you're tasting it on Primeur because you're getting the preview of the vintage. It won't be released for another 2 or 3 years? Actually,
About 2 years.
2 years is when
they're
you'll be able to buy the bottles for 2018. So you get a taste of what's coming, but all the answers and all the reveals are not quite there. But it's a pretty good indication of what the vintage is going to be like. So those are the wineries we're excited about for Margaux. Okay, where else did we go?
We also went to.
Many places.
We did.
So many places.
We tasted at Pomerol.
Yes.
Or we tasted Pomerol.
We tasted Pomerol.
And Kelly and I don't want to speak for you, but I feel like we may have shared the same opinion that, unfortunately, and Pomerol is often a favorite of mine because Pomerol is very is a sexy wine usually because of the proportion of Merlot. They tend to have really supple textures and really round mouthfeels and just a lot of fruit up front. They're wines that are really sultry and just great to drink. Chateau Clinet is often a favorite producer of mine, but I have to admit, in this vintage in 2018, I felt like the wines were over-oaked and really, oak is a spice in my opinion, and that's how it should be used to season a wine as a part of the complete picture. And these wines were, in many cases, dominated by oak, and I overpowered the fruit and the rest of the wine, and they were a bit disjointed. So Pomerol was a bit of a weak spot for me.
Me as well, and I'm one of those people that with oak, I know it has a place with wine, but I prefer the subtleties of oak. a nuance of toast or spice or vanilla. When the oak becomes a predominant player in a wine, then you have to ask yourself, what is the problem? Like, why is there so much oak? We're not sure exactly if this is something that they're thinking of as an appellation that they're really embracing and maybe wanting to make that more part of their wine at Pomerol or not. But it was a little off-putting. I'm still going to try their 2018 in a couple of years and see if the oak was better integrated, because again, this is an early time to be evaluating the wine, and hopefully these integrations will happen very soon. Okay, so that's a wrap on Pomerol. And then Emilion St. Julien.
So we tasted at St. Julien, which is actually the wine that we are drinking right now, for those of you who are just checking in with us.
St. Julien, Bordeaux.
We're drinking 2012 Primeur du Cru from St. Julien, which is a lovely wine, and if you've not tasted the wines from this producer, I definitely recommend them.
Absolutely, I love it.
So, sorry.
No problem.
So with St. Julien, what's interesting about St. Julien is it's one of the smaller appellations within the Mid-Up. And what many people like about it's a really strong vintage on the left bank. And what many people really like about St. Julien is the wines kind of possess the elegance of Margaux with the power and structure of Pauillac. So for me, it's personally one of my favorite appellations. I know.
I think that might be
we've
my
done
favorite.
Quite a few tastings in only 2 days, and we've probably had cumulatively 10 hours of sleep.
10 hours of sleep in at least 2 or possibly even 3 days.
Yeah, it's been.
I think I got like 18 hours of sleep today, so.
You're
totally,
catching up.
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm caught up.
I'm still running at a deficit, so you have to work with me.
Yes. I really liked, what was the one I just pointed it out into the in the menu to you?
Was it the Pave Margaux?
No. Oh no, but the Pave is extraordinary.
That was your showing.
That was, for 2018, the Pave Margaux was out of this world. It was the Chevalier. Oh my goodness, how many people have had the Chateau Chevalier?
Domaine de Chevalier?
Yes, Domaine de Chevalier.
So
Details.
we went to a consultant's tasting, Stefan Derencourt, and all of his wines in his portfolio were there, and we only had about really 15 minutes to taste through some of his wines.
16 wines, so less than a minute of wine.
He had mostly Saint Emilion in their portfolio, but there were producers like Domaine de Chevalier from Pessac La Léonin, and it is one of my favorite wines.
Yes, me too.
And it's also a nice value for the pub, and we really enjoyed that. And if you haven't had the Domaine de Chevalier Bordeaux Blanc, it's beautiful.
And the red is extraordinary as well.
And the red, ironically, is cheaper than the white because the production on the white is so small in Bordeaux, and for their Bordeaux Blanc specifically.
Absolutely.
That the red is actually that much more of a great value.
And in case you don't know, I'm here with Ryan O'Hara. He is the Fermented Fruit on Instagram. Make sure and follow him. And give him some love. Absolutely. Give his post some love. And stay tuned for us. We have a couple of areas we'd like to share. However, we have dinner at Chapon Fin. So we must go to an extraordinary Bordeaux dinner, but before we do, I'm going to give you a little view of what we're surrounded by. So, ciao for now, or as they say in France, au revoir, my friends.
Au revoir.
Au revoir, and take a little peek at what we're looking at today. And I did order the train to come by right now. That's hilarious. The Opera House is in front of you. The magical quiet trains. And us.
And us, of course.
Okay. Au revoir, guys. Take care. Merci for joining the show. And we'll talk to you soon.
I'm standing on the cliff side while you tumble way below the waves. Undercurrent pulls you in. I try to guide you out to calm waters. Just give me your word. Oh, we gotta let go. Let go. Let go. We gotta let go. Let go. Let go. Yeah. Oh. let go. We gotta let go. Let go. Let